Hey guys, welcome to the first dungeon of the game, the Deku Tree. And as soon as you enter, you're going to encounter another new enemy called a Deku Baba. And we had some weathered ones outside the temple, but now we're going to have some real guys up here. And these ones are a lot harder. What they'll do is they'll snap at you if you get too close. Now if you're far enough away, you can smack their head while they're stretching out at you, and then that'll stun them and they'll stick straight up. If you attack them like this, again, then it'll kill them and they'll turn into a Deku stick, which you can collect. Now if you get closer, then they'll smack against your shield, and what you want to do is use your shield, let them smack it, attack them, and then smack in between their attacks, and then they will drop Deku nuts. These are a useful item, which I will explain in a little while. But anyways, if you do manage to get hit by them, which can happen quite easily, then don't feel too bad because there are recovery hearts in those little patches of grass nearby. And these pieces of grass, they regrow, so feel free to just keep slashing them up. In any case, now we're going to need to go up to the next level. You can take either the ladder, which I'm going to turn around here in a second so you can see, or you can climb up the vines. Now the first time you touch the vines, Navi will freak out and explain that you can indeed climb these things. Here I'm just noting that there's Skull Altuas up here, so you can't climb the vines yet, and I'll talk more about those enemies later. Open the large chest and you'll get the dungeon map. Now, in the overworld you have maps of just about all the areas, like Hyrule Field and Kokiri Forest, but in the dungeons you have to get the map every time if you want to see where you're at. So anyways, this is the map for this dungeon. And so anyways, after you get that, then continue on and head along the right, and you can jump across this platform right here. And to jump, all you have to do is simply run at it as fast as you can, and you'll jump across. Touch the door, and Navi will start explaining that you can go through doors by pressing A. She will continually give you all these useful tidbits for the first time things, which this dungeon is just full of. It's incredibly annoying if you've already played the game several times. In any case, go through this door and you'll encounter another new enemy called a Deku Scrub. These puppies will shoot Deku nuts at you, and then they will climb into their nest if you get too close. What you want to do is you want to reflect their nuts back at them using your shield. And this will stun them, and then they'll get kicked out of their nest, and they'll run around like crazy and then try and get back. So what you want to do is you want to either stand near their nest so that they'll come back to it and then touch you, or you can chase them down. So I just touched him as soon as he got done, and so that way he didn't even have a chance to run around. In any case, all the ones in this dungeon will give you clues as soon as you kill them. This one tells you that if you fall from a really high place, you can hold forward on the analog stick in the direction that you're facing, and you will roll when you hit the ground so you don't take any damage. So this is a pretty useful little thing, and we'll be using it a lot. In any case, enter the next door and jump across the fake platform, which will crumble beneath you. If you do fall down, then you can climb up the vines nearby. In either case, open the large chest to get the fairy slingshot. This is our first dungeon item, and it's pretty snazzy. So what you need to do is you need to press the start button to open up your menu and go to the items subscreen, and then press the C button for each of the items. It doesn't really matter which ones you do them on, it's just use your personal preference and whatever you find most convenient. So once you have that done, then you want to turn around and you'll see that there's a suspicious looking ladder right there. We can't get out of the room, so instead shoot the ladder and it'll make it come down. Now we can finally get out of here. So anyways, jump down, and one more thing I want to point out real quick is that if you do run out of ammo for your slingshot, just go slash the bushes. Now we can get Deku seeds, and then they're a common drop from these bushes as well. So anyways, climb up the ladder and go through the last door. Then head back to the main room. And I encourage you, meanwhile, to use Deku nuts. It seems like a lot of the time people forget to use them when they play the game, but they're an incredibly useful item. They stun enemies for a brief moment, and they're just found all over the place for these first few dungeons. So come out here and you want to shoot these Skull Altuas, because if you start climbing up these vines, they will chase after you and knock you off. So that doesn't happen, you just want to climb up here and then go either to the right or to the left, and then once you are decently over the platforms that you just saw there, press A to drop down. And as soon as you get up here, I want to point out that there are some shadows nearby, and you want to be careful to avoid those because they're actually Skulltulas. So like right here, see one pops down once I get close enough. And so we're going to avoid those for now, and we'll come back to them later. So go through this door up here, and in this room the door closes behind you. We'll deal with that later to get back out of this room. In any case, go step on the switch, and this will make the platforms rise temporarily. So jump across to the opposite side of the room and open the large chest. Here you'll find the compass, and this item tells you where you are on the map, where other treasure chests are, as well as where the boss is and which room you just came from. This is kind of useful, but it doesn't really matter too much unless you intend on looking on your map and making sure that you're collecting every chest that you can find. For this game, it doesn't really matter too much, but in the next game, for example, it's really important. In any case, go over, jump down, and you'll see that the cubby on the left, we can't get into it yet because there's this spatula there. So what I did right now is I made him drop down and I stunned him with one of those Deku nuts. And then I just used a jump attack, which is Z plus A with your sword out, and that does 2 damage instead. So I just made that battle go much faster. Kill the Deku Baba and climb up the vines right here, and then go step on the switch again. Now you can jump across the platforms and go to the left cubby. And in here you'll find another new enemy called the Gold Scatula. And when you kill them, they drop tokens. You want to collect all of these, and I'll explain later what these are for. But there's 100 of them in the game, and you get prizes for turning them in. So we're going to be collecting them throughout this dungeon. That little chest right there has a recovery heart, and since we're full health, I didn't snag it. Now, in order to get out of the room, what you need to do is you need to light the unlit torch. So whip out a Deku stick, go run by the torch, and go light the unlit one. This will open the door. Now here I slash my sword to save the Deku stick. It doesn't really matter, you'll find a ton of them in this dungeon, but just cool to note. Head outside and go towards one of those big Scatulas. You want to wait for them to turn around and then smack them. So defeat him, and then the game isn't too clear about what you need to do at this point, but when you're downstairs in this main room, then if you walk over that giant spiderweb in the middle of the room, then Navi's up C button will flash at you, and if you press it, then she'll tell you that she can see stuff underneath her. That's the clue that you need to find a way to get through that. So what you want to do is from one of these 3 platform edges, you want to jump towards the middle of the spiderweb, and you can aim kind of as you're falling with the analog stick. If you miss, then you'll kind of bounce like a trampoline, and you have to climb all the way back up. Anyways, in this new room, there are 2 gold Scatulas that we need to get. And the first one's against this grating, and then so you want to shoot it with your slingshot and jump off this little platform. And the first time I actually miss, and so what you can do is you can come up here and like I did, I Z-target it to align myself upright, and then I just held forward, and that collects the token. So then this other one is against the vines that lead back up to the main room. So shoot this one down, and 2 hits will take care of these guys, and then jump back in the water and climb up the vines. Now, what we need to do in this room is we need to get through the door that is covered with the spider webs. So how do you get through that, since we can't jump through it, obviously? And the clue here is that there's an unlit torch that is covered in spider webs right there in the corner. And if you step on the switch, it sets the torch on fire, and that burns the webs that are right on it, see? Just like this. So what we need to do is do the same thing to the other door. So light a Deku stick and then jump down to the shallow water right here, and then run along to the other door. Just avoid the Deku Baba, light the spider webs, and then slash your sword to conserve your Deku stick. Now go through the door.